Hello, friends. Let me make sure my audio is working. I think it is. Cool. So hi. We're halfway through Aries season almost. The Libra full moon is tomorrow. And our next new moon, also in Aries, is on the 19th. And if you've been taking part in our 30-day confidence challenge in Discord, then we kicked things off at the last Aries new moon. And we set intentions for this journey. We visualized where we wanted to be on April 19th. Hopefully, you've been coming back to that vision and building on it, focusing on it, lighting candles, infusing them with the energy of that intention that you set for yourself and for your life. If you haven't, tomorrow would be a really good time just to sit with that, to light a candle, to continue to kind of speak affirmations into that candle. And if you came up with a specific affirmation to support yourself through this journey, then you're going to want to come back to that and just reaffirm it, especially tomorrow, over and over and over. I would recommend doing it at least 7 times throughout the day. Um, but really, however much feels good to you. The important thing is just repetition, consistency, and getting into the space of I am or I will statements. Um, I today actually, because we actually had kind of a snafu with our reading, our Akashic Records reading that we were going to do for the group this past weekend, I thought that I would just pop on here and actually do a quick tarot reading for you guys, a little private pick a pile for you folks to get a sense for where you're at in the journey right now and give you a little bit more insight on maybe what you can do for these final 2 weeks of Aries season to keep kind of ushering in the vision that you have for yourself and also what you personally can do to build more confidence so we can get a little bit more specific advice so it's not as generic. But the affirmations will apply to everyone, the visualizations will apply to everyone, and getting specific with what it is that you want for yourself. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to take a second to maybe close your eyes, settle into your body, take a few deep breaths. And from this space, just go ahead and bring the color red to mind. Really allow yourself to bathe in it, to feel into it. And then when you're ready, go ahead and pick a number, 1, 2, or 3. The first one that comes to mind. 1, 2, or 3. Trust your first instinct. Don't second guess yourself. Go with whatever comes up first. And you can go ahead and keep your eyes closed if you want. Can we first get a card for our group ones? Guidance. Group twos with guidance. And group three. Okay. So for my group one humans, you have the Five of Cups. This is often a card of loss. It's a card of grief. It can be a time when we're really kind of focused on what we have lost, what is no longer with us. It's often emotional losses. It can be the loss of a relationship or even sometimes 3 relationships that have been really significant in our lives. So if you're experiencing grief and loss right now, it's really important as part of this journey, as part of your Aries season journey, to give yourself the space and time that you need to process that because it feels like part of this process of building your intuitive muscles, of manifesting for yourself, is allowing yourself to be with what's there and to not try to shove it away. I'm getting that for a lot of you, the experience of maybe getting into like visualization mode or affirmation mode feels a little bit phony at times because there are these heavy emotions that you're not able to really sit with and hold space for, and that it can be difficult for you to. Are we still going? Oh my God, I'm sorry. My screensaver went on for a second, which is weird considering I'm recording. We're still on. So that actually is perfect because I was about to say that it kind of interrupts the energetic flow. So it's almost like your screensaver has gone on when you're getting into a space where you're trying to call in new energy, call in excitement and passion and creativity and all of this stuff. It's almost like your grief comes in as a screensaver and is sort of like, we don't have the energy for this. I'm going to shut you down a little bit. I'm going to prevent you from kind of getting there because there's something that's more important here that you really need to be with right now. So I would encourage you to see these heavy emotions that may be coming up as actually a pathway into what you want to create for yourself. And part of the process for you along this journey is being with your feelings, especially the big ones, especially the difficult ones, not trying to shove them away. You may want to listen to the Aries season Akasha scope that I posted on YouTube as well, because it actually centered on that quite a bit and I think contains some recommendations for how to do that. But part of it is literally something that Jess Glaniato recommends all the time that I always echo, which is setting a timer for like 60 seconds and giving yourself that time and space to just feel something. Like if grief is coming up and it keeps knocking at your door, 60 seconds, I'm going to feel something. It doesn't have to go beyond that. That especially is relevant for you on this Libra full moon. There could be a lot of feelings about lost partnerships, lost relationships. I know many of us are kind of in that energy. So that is your recommendation. That is part of the journey for you. Don't beat yourself up if you're not feeling like chipper and excited and confident and passionate. Part of your experience is being with the feelings. They're your pathway and your gateway into the blessings that you want to receive, but you need to make space for them first. For my pile two humans, your card is death. You are undergoing a huge transformation. There's a lot that you're letting go of, a lot that you're clearing out space for. I'm going to encourage you to take a salt bath if you can. If you don't have access to a bathtub, but you have like a pail that you can soak your feet in and throw some Epsom salt in there, or hell, just like sea salt if you don't have Epsom salt. It feels like physical, energetic cleansing is really important to you. And especially this week with the Libra full moon, really allowing yourself to like exhale stuff, to shed, to shed, to shed. If you're more attracted to kind of like fire rituals, you may want to go ahead and um, set something on fire. Like it could be like writing something down that you're ready to release and setting it on fire in a fire safe bowl and throwing away the ashes. And in that process, imagining that this old energy is like this sludge within you that's getting released through that process. You can lay down narratives about yourself. If you've had old, outdated narratives coming up throughout this experience, this is your time to lay them down, to set them on fire, to put them into water, whatever feels right to you. Go through that process, ideally this week, ideally in the next couple of few days, while the full moon energy is pretty high and hot, and we're in this energy of release, release, release. You are going to wake up on April 19th and you're going to have a really new energy within you. I can already sense that for you. I think that's true for all of us to different degrees. But especially for this pile, it feels like you've been doing some very deep work and it's really beginning to churn and burn and kind of like gather heat and move. So focus on the body, focus on release. If you have old stories coming up, old narratives coming up, write them down and burn them or just throw them away, whatever you have to do, but just please be safe. Okay. And then for my third pile, humans, we have the Seven of Cups. So you may be the people who had like a really grand vision when we set out in March. You may have been kind of overwhelmed by the possibilities and overwhelmed by what it was that you wanted to call in. Like you may be, I know some people created like really long affirmations that had like multiple sort of archetypes that you wanted to embody or multiple yeah, just sort of like shiny object syndrome, like maybe feeling a little bit scared about rooting into one possibility because the choice element of it was so overwhelming for you. So you're being encouraged right now to focus on one of those cups. Get really specific. It's not that these other six cups can't manifest in time, but it's actually that you don't want them to. One thing that's always been helpful for me to hear is that we wouldn't want all of our blessings to materialize all at once because there's no way we could be with all of them and appreciate all of them if they were to all occur in our life simultaneously. It's just not the vibe. We do not want that. So if you can tell yourself, I'm not setting these other things aside because I don't want them to happen or because they're not going to happen, but simply because I need to focus my energy. And so much of this sort of alchemical process that we're going through is about focus and intention and getting specific. So I'm going to encourage you to get out a pen and paper and cross off the things that you're not going to prioritize right now. And you can say, I'll prioritize those for the next several moon cycles or for 6 months from now when we experience our Aries full moon during Libra season. That's the time that I want these things to manifest. So get really clear. What can you realistically, and maybe add a little bit to the realism, maybe get a little imaginative with it. You know, you don't have to like imagine you're going to grow an elephant out of your ass or anything, but you can get practical, but also be hopeful and magical with it. There's that happy medium between like, I'm going to manifest everything I could ever want in 30 days versus I'm going to manifest something that feels like a stretch to me, but is actually within the realm of possibility. So go back to your vision. Don't throw it away. Keep it, but create a revised version of it that narrows it down and gets really specific. I would love for you to just have one archetype that you're trying to embody and three characteristics tops. Mine is I am a humble, resourced, confident sage. And that is it. That's it. And that's what I say. If I'm visualizing, I go to my altar and I visualize what I want. I share numbers if it's got to be specific. And then I cap things off with repeating that affirmation aloud and lighting my candle. So then when you have that affirmation, as you're making choices throughout the day, you can step into that energy and you can do like a what would Jesus do, except it's like a what would that version of myself do? What would a person who is this do right now? And that's how we begin behaving as if, and that's how we begin actually changing our life and becoming the version of ourselves that we would like to become. And remember, include the word confident, include the word confident in your vision, in your affirmation. Okay, and then I would like to get a general message for everyone with a little more guidance. We're going to do two cards for this. So we have the Page of Pentacles and we have the Nine of Swords. So what I'm getting for this is that many of you are having anxiety about things not manifesting, which makes sense. You're maybe presented with this sense that to call in opportunities, you need to like do it all yourself. And that's creating maybe some anxiety, restlessness, fear, maybe a little bit of like late night insomnia about feeling like you're kind of taking on something that you don't feel like you have the capacity to realize. What I'm going to say in response to this, what the tarot is going to say in response to this, is that you don't have to do it all yourself. Six of Pentacles. That's why we're calling in spirit. That's why we're calling in our magical helpers. That's why we're calling in our guides. The Six of Pentacles, but I was going to say Two of Pentacles, so that's interesting. The Two of Pentacles is about juggling. It's about having two things in our hands and not focusing our energy because we're juggling, literally. So I want you to imagine that you're tossing a pentacle to your guides, and that each time you repeat your affirmation, you're inviting them in to help you. Each time you repeat these words out loud, you are calling in support. If you are down for prayer, that would be great. If you're down for any sort of magical work, any sort of spiritual work, that would be great to be doing, especially for these next 2 weeks. And remembering that the universe is generous, and that if we believe in its generosity and if we put actual faith and actual trust in our spiritual team, they will deliver. So, trust, practice trust. That was actually the theme of last week. The theme of this week, I don't know what it is yet. I think we'll learn when I pull the next card. What is our theme this week? What is our overall theme this week? The Ace of Cups. So what is being birthed in your life right now? Can you look around and do a check-in and say, how have things shifted in my life since we kicked off this 30-day journey? What seeds have begun to feel like they're maybe jiggling a little bit? Maybe they're starting to like even, germination. I don't really know what happens to a seed underground, but whatever happens to a seed underground, can you imagine that that's happening to your seed and to your intention that you planted? And drink lots of water. Literally, drink a lot of water. Um, what else is coming through? Our theme of the week is love, self-love. So the theme of the week is cultivating self-love by moving from a space of affirmation and self-trust into self-adoration. What are all the things that you adore about yourself? This week we're going to make a list of not things that we just like or are okay with about ourselves, but things that we adore about ourselves. And we are going to share that list publicly in Discord and affirm each other for this love. We're going to see each other in our self-loving energy and express gratitude for each other for showing up in our full embodiment, for showing up in our full selfhood, for showing up in this beauty, this courage, and this self-trust that it takes to love yourself. So that is the task. That is the ritual that I'm going to ask you to perform this week. I will check in on Thursday and I will have another little journal prompt for you just to process after all that we've moved through here. My screen went out again. Sorry, so annoying. And that's it. Okay, yay. I hope everyone's doing okay. Please follow up with questions. Please chime in. This is an open space to chat. So let's have conversations on Discord about the challenges that are coming up for each of us and we can process it together. I love you. Bye.